Welcome to the Quest for Meaning podcast, where we embark on a journey to answer one of life's biggest questions. What is the meaning of it all? Because when you find meaning, you find happiness. I'm your host, Alistair Haberfield. Join me as we dive deep into the stories, practices, and philosophies that illuminate your path to a more meaningful life. Now, the irony is not lost on me that I spent the last year traveling around the world with my now ex-partner, isolated from friends and family, whilst dedicating all my time to building a community platform. Today, we're going to explore partnerships. To start, some quick, simple statistics. So, around 1 in 6 people worldwide report feeling lonely. And loneliness isn't just about being alone, as the gap between who you are and the mask you're wearing. Is the gap between your integrity, your authenticity, and how you're showing up. If you're showing up with integrity and authenticity, then you're going to be feeling less lonely because those relationships and partnerships you build are based upon who you actually are. You're not this facade of a person. And something that really sticks out for me is a video I watched. It's a YouTube channel called The School of Life. And it talked about how whenever you go on your first date, you should always show up completely as your authentic self. Because otherwise, you're both going to be wearing a mask that's steadily going to start to unravel over the long term. And so if you show up with authenticity in that moment, in who you are, and that's matched, and you both like each other, you skipped a whole thing as masking and feeling like you're in this facade of a relationship, this thing that isn't real, that you don't want to be. And the same can be said for a job. So if you're applying for a job and you're lying about who you are and how you feel about things, maybe you've lied on your resume, or you don't like particularly some of their practices, when you go into an interview and the company or the job doesn't allow me in some way, that tends to really blow up when you're in the job and become worse and worse until eventually you decide to leave. Or you show up in so much authenticity that you start to grate upon others and then they might let you go. So going back to the statistics, better social connection is associated with a significantly reduced mortality risk, as high as 25 to 50%. It makes sense, right? You are showing up authentically, you're met and liked for who you are. So there's all this relief of being seen or heard for who you are, this relief of, like, nervous system wise, you're not anxious to show up in a certain way. You can just be you. If you don't feel like showing up something, you can tell someone. So basically, more meaningful human connection anchored in authenticity leads to a longer life, and quality matters, not quantity. It's you showing up authentically and those partnerships being authentic. Now we've anchored into a bit of the data and the theory behind this. Let's explore my journey a bit more. I've always led with collaboration first. And a few years back, when I got made redundant, I started collaborating with people to put on events and things like that. I was doing it more and more, but something didn't feel right. So it felt like I didn't have a foundation. I was putting all this energy into this collaboration and we weren't seeing fruition because we didn't have a good marketing process, or things just weren't flowing as easy as they should be. It was like too much energy for the energy we were getting back. And yes, we might have just been giving without expecting anything back, but it was too much to give. It was like putting events on, for example, and we were getting limited attendees. And yeah, we made an impact, but it shouldn't be that hard. So I went back to the drawing board on that, and I decided that I needed to get my head around the structure and the technicalities and see how I could create a marketing pipeline, an offer pipeline and things, so it would just be repurposed and things could just flow and I could solely focus on the collaboration and all the admin and things could just flow in the background and I could really be present in that collaboration. And I've got to a stage now where that foundation has been built, and I'm looking forward to moving more into collaboration. But yeah, the last year was about retreating back from that collaboration in order to build something that can enable me to collaborate even more going forward. And that is the community that I'll share a bit more about later on in this podcast episode. Another thing is I went from being in a relationship which I thought was built on communication. I thought that was our number one understanding, that we would be fine as long as we communicated. I still believe that. But I went from that to not even being heard at all. Like, my voice was not welcoming anyway. And this was due to basically my partner's mom's died, and she was processing her grief. And in that processing, she basically dismantled her whole life and our partnership over the past 6 months, and started going through all these previous evolutions of herself again. It was like she was reliving her whole life. And yeah, ultimately that partnership disintegrated. And the third thing that happened to me this year around partnership is I went from being surrounded by my most authentic friendships in Vancouver. Vancouver was a place where I really understood who I was and what I was supposed to bring to this world. And the foundation and the partnerships I made there were built on that foundation. And so I went from that like real authentic connection to being completely traveling the world with my ex-partner, been on completely different time zones and not been able to talk to friends or family. And it was just, and we were in villages where we didn't necessarily have a car and things like that. In foreign countries, we didn't necessarily speak the language. Sometimes we were even on top of mountains, and that was great, but it was also very isolating. I went through these three things all in the past year. And the reason why I was doing all this was to ultimately build a community that helps people on the self-evolution and collective journey. And that community is Lumisol. And the irony is not lost on me that I was going through this whole excavation and removal of my partnerships to build a community that is supposed to build more authentic partnerships, more connection, grounded in integrity. And it's been a hell of a year just witnessing that, going from what I thought was like the most authentic connection I'd ever had in friends and a partnership to having nothing. And now the community is built and we have 50 members in there right now. But the community is not sparked yet. There's like people there waiting, and it's not a community. There's the void where the old connection and partnerships of mine have almost disintegrated. And that's not to say that the partnerships won't be rebuilt, but it's like the tethering has dissolved away in the hope that the tethering will come back way stronger in the future next year when the Lumisol community will take off. I'd like to spend some time now talking about what I've been building. The Lumisol community is built on us progressing our self-evolution journey, our solo journey, our unique purpose, what we're uniquely here to do individually, and also progressing our collective evolution journey, recognizing that whilst we are inherently sovereign, we are ultimately connected. And we do have a part to play in shaping the collective evolution of this planet and this earth. And the community aims to do that through education, experiences, and community. We create a space where you can show up in integrity so we can all grow together through authentic connection and shared experiences. And we can support each other through life by collaborating upon shared projects, supporting each other. And ultimately, we want to do this so we can harmonize our own reality, so we can take the purpose that we each individually have and we can anchor it down onto this planet so that we're doing what we're here to do. And it's grounded in truth, grounded in reality, and recognizing that we live on Earth, and at the moment we transact through money. So enabling people to have that monetary abundance and live out what they're here to do. And we also create an environment where co-creation and co-leadership can happen. And we can redefine what the future looks like on this earth to create a world more aligned with unity. We help people on their self-evolution journey through education that is aimed at all the different energy centers in the body. It doesn't matter if you know energy centers or not. There's education there to help you on every step of your journey, no matter what you're going through, whether you want to use your voice more on stage, whether you want to find your purpose, whether you just want to ground and recenter and be present. All that is on there. And then as you start to step into more and more self-leadership and go beyond self-leadership and want to lead and become a teacher, we can help you do that. And we create the space where you can have accountability buddies, you can have coaching, you can lead, you can put on experiences in the platform to people across the world. Your reach, there's no bounds to your reach. And we want you to be able to radiate what you're here to do. And then ultimately that leadership can come together and we want to co-create things. So it could be products, it could be retreat centers, it could be a new way of operating in business. And we're going to create a space for that. We have a space for that. And we can run design sprints. We can create teams to do that. And we can initiate projects, fund them, all those things you want to be able to do in future. Ultimately, you can go from this job, this relationship, this life where you're not you're not authentic, and you can show up authentically in this community and you can progress on your life path and progress with what you're here to do and then shift the collective evolution. We want to be able to take you on that whole journey and we can't do it without you. Please do join. There is a free membership and you can show as yourself, and I would love to make a partnership with you, a friendship with you, and help us guide each other on our journey. You can join at community.lumisol.co. So if I was to summarize this episode, what I'm saying is I spent a year of not having the strong partnerships that I want to realize that not only are power, passion, and purpose 3 pillars of meaning, but also partnerships. Find people who you can build a friendship or partnership with based on authenticity and build a partnership that you can remain in as both of you evolve through your many evolutions that will stand the test of time, and ultimately a partnership where you can collaborate with them together and create something beautiful in this world. Thanks, and I will see you next time. This has been another step in the quest for meaning. If you're on this journey too, make sure to follow along and share this episode with someone walking their own path. You can explore more at ourquestformeaning.com. This is your quest. Stay curious, be brave, and keep seeking meaning.